Hello everyone. This evening we explore the extravagant, bizarre, and sometimes filthy sleeping quarters of medieval kings and queens, where authority, desire, and a total personal space clashed dramatically. So, before you settle in, pause to like this clip and subscribe, but solely if you truly value my content here. Tell me below where you're watching from and your current time. It's endlessly intriguing discovering our global audience. Now lower the lights, perhaps switch on a fan for gentle ambient noise, and let's begin tonight's voyage. King John of England, called John Lackland and unofficially Britain's most dreadful banquet companion, is famed for sealing Magna Carta, forfeiting half of France, and still finding moments to be profoundly improper with noblemen's daughters. John governed from 1199 to 1216, demonstrating spectacularly how not to conduct public affairs. Politically catastrophic, personally somehow worse. John didn't merely acquire lovers, he seized them. He was infamous for abducting noblewomen, confining them in royal fortresses, and amusing himself with them until marriage elsewhere or convenient neglect. His preferred method for fracturing influential families wasn't combat. It was seducing the spouse, estranging the husband, then demanding double taxes. Efficient. Chroniclers found John's conduct so disturbing that even prejudiced medieval writers, individuals routinely overlooking witch trials and floggings, penned notes like, "He lacked restraint with women and he didn't avoid wives and daughters." That's medieval code for "he rendered the holiday gathering intensely uncomfortable." Reportedly, John once maintained 30 mistresses officially. That isn't romance. That's a personnel crisis. Several nobles formally protested to the crown that John exploited their welcome, a courteous way of stating he slept with everyone, including servants and possibly the family goat. His actions were so appalling they almost sparked revolt, not over taxes or conflict, but because half the barons feared leaving spouses alone during royal calls. One baron demanded his entire household be secured before meeting John. That's diplomacy, 13th century style. Yet, in true regal manner, John perceived no issue. He deemed himself captivating. Proof outside his personal letters is absent. Yet, when monarch, delusion is standard. Ultimately, King John bequeathed a realm in chaos, a heritage of suspicion, and likely several unacknowledged offspring. He was the monarch inspiring democracy's invention merely to shield families. Not history's worst king, but certainly the one you'd never permit near children. Charles VI of France, dubbed Charles the Mad, reigned from 1380 to 1422. And yes, that title was merited, not bestowed lightly during drunken feasting. He commenced his rule promisingly, youthful, attractive, competent. Then circumstances altered. He started forgetting his identity, assaulting his own knights, and once believed himself constructed of glass, demanding servants wrap him in blankets to prevent shattering while moving. Not precisely the picture of regal fortitude, yet impressive regarding inventive paranoia. Now, most monarchs convinced they are fragile glass ornaments typically avoid scandal. Not Charles. He somehow balanced a royal mistress, a paranoid fantasy, and civil war simultaneously. A multitasker. His patient wife, Isabeau of Bavaria, attempted managing the court, while Charles performed acts like fleeing screaming from mirrors and refusing washing, fearing water might dissolve him. Meanwhile, his mistress, Odette de Champ-Divers, was discreetly installed in the palace, presented to all as his comfort, medieval terminology for "don't inquire, simply smile." Odette, for her role, remained with Charles during his most unstable years. She possessed either saintly patience or queenly property rights. Reportedly, she combed his hair, heard his glass-related ramblings, and assisted dressing him in multiple padded layers for safe sitting. Passion is not defined by strapping your royal lover into a cushion suit. But Charles wasn't merely eccentric privately. He also hosted court festivities where events turned disastrous. During the infamous Bal des Ardents, he and friends dressed as wild men in flammable costumes and danced holding torches. Predictably, someone dropped a flame and several burned alive. Charles survived, but his dignity perished. Despite everything, Charles fathered 12 children, several conceived during apparent lucidity, or at least sufficient clarity. Royal chronicles omit whether he recalled their names, but assuming naming a child not glass was discouraged. Charles VI governed France into collapse. Yet more remarkably, he blended mental illness, royal disgrace, and medieval pyrotechnics into one tragicomic saga, and somehow they still let him wear a crown. Peter the Cruel, alternatively Pedro the Just, dependent on whether you supported him or were concealed beneath floorboards because of him, ruled Castile from 1350 to 1369. His concept of romance was an odd mixture of royal allure, possessive jealousy, and sporadic politically inconvenient killing. His initial love life wasn't exactly Shakespearean. He adored noblewoman Maria de Padilla, whom he possibly wed secretly. Secrecy was vital, primarily because he was also married off for alliances, creating slight awkwardness. One such spouse was Blanche of Bourbon, a French noblewoman he married, then confined to a fortress 3 days later. She lived in prison thereafter because Peter decided Maria possessed more attractive hair, or perhaps he disliked Blanche's accent. Either way, it constituted aggressive ghosting. Maria, meanwhile, became his lifelong fixation. Even marrying others, she remained his favorite. Upon her death, Peter supposedly wept for days, then ordered her declared his legal wife retroactively, thus confusing everyone and perhaps justifying her bearing 4 of his children. But Peter's passions extended beyond unannulled marriages and royal abduction. He was known for loving violently, not poetically, just dangerously. One mistress, Doña Juana, tried leaving him. She was later discovered dismembered, as were several enemies and cousins, occasionally individuals making ill-timed eye contact. Contemporary accounts mention Peter occasionally observing executions from his balcony while lounging with a mistress. That's not charming sociopath. That's HBO antagonist with poor impulse control. Yet despite the drama, the Castilian court was never dull. Gossip flowed faster than wine. Peter's relationships blurred passion and vengeance. His romantic gestures included surprise weddings, surprise divorces, and the sporadic surprise stabbing. Eventually, Peter was slain by his half-brother in a symbolic act of family counseling. But his fame as Europe's most aggressively unromantic romantic persists. If love is a battlefield, Peter arrived with siege engines. Edward II of England governed from 1307 to 1327 and is recalled for 2 things: losing to Scots at Bannockburn and showing greater affection to male favorites than his actual queen. One act was deemed treason, the other controversial dinner conversation. Begin with Piers Gaveston, Edward's childhood friend, rumored lover, and full-time fashion symbol. Piers wasn't merely close to Edward. He was elevated to absurd influence, gifted estates, titles, and jewelry clashing with his outfits. At Edward's coronation, Piers wore more sparkle than the crown jewels and overshadowed the queen, a daring move when survival relies on nobles not despising you. Spoiler, they hated him. Edward's wife, Isabella of France, understandably raged. She arrived with political expectations and a generous dowry, neither including sharing the throne with her husband's bestie, potential boyfriend. Edward, however, stayed devoted. When nobles demanded Piers's exile, Edward sulked, dispatched him, then promptly retrieved him. Like a teen breakup, yet with fortresses and crossbows. Eventually, barons had enough and executed Piers. Edward was shattered. Consider full royal collapse. Mourning attire, public sobbing, complete medieval soap opera. His grief, however, didn't prompt reflection. It merely made space for a new favorite. Hugh Despenser the Younger. Hugh rendered Piers a subtle footnote. He wasn't just Edward's advisor. He was essentially the second king. Land, titles, entire counties. Hugh received them. Other nobles grew furious. Isabella by then shifted from irked wife to full vengeance mode. She allied with her own lover. Edward's adversary naturally invaded England and overthrew her spouse. Edward was jailed, stripped of his crown, and possibly murdered via red-hot poker. Yes, that rumor exists. No, we won't discuss its physics. Simply state, medieval revenge was rarely subtle. Edward II's reign centered less on governance and more on personal drama, so intense it could be reality TV. Had Plantagenets possessed Netflix, his season would be banned in 3 nations. His error? Mixing politics with passion, ignoring others, and presuming royal power meant invincibility. Turns out everyone could reach him eventually. Wenceslas IV of Bohemia ruled late 14th century, though ruled might be generous. He technically held titles like King of the Romans and King of Bohemia, but his genuine achievements aligned more with public nudity, heavy drinking, and initiating brawls in his own palace. If recalling good King Wenceslaus from the carol Wrong Monarch, that was his ancestor. This Wenceslas, not good, scarcely decent. He began promisingly, crowned young, intelligent, multilingual, capable. Yet somewhere, he concluded the royal wine cellar, surpassed the treasury, and governed from a goblet's bottom. Wenceslaus gained fame for multi-day drinking sessions, policy choices made between mead rounds and crude limericks. His advisors carried flasks, not to imbibe, but to endure discussions. At court, debates often concluded with flip tables or breadstick duels. He also cultivated the charming habit of streaking through the castle, sometimes mid-meeting. One chronicler records Wenceslaus delivering royal decrees utterly naked, save a sword belt. His rationale: clothes suit the timid. Hard arguing with that logic when the crowned individual also wields a longsword sans trousers. Romantically, he preferred barmaids, laundresses, occasionally nobles' wives, though seemingly more invested in their beer suggestions than their sentiments. Affairs weren't scandalous at his court. They were practically job auditions. One noble accused him of seducing his sister. Wenceslaus shrugged and offered him a drink. Ultimately, the Holy Roman Empire decided they'd endured sufficient royal vodka and removed him as king of the Romans. A polite dismissal stating, "You're fired, but we'll pretend it's political." Even his own sibling termed him useless, undressed, typically unconscious. Still, Wenceslaus somehow reigned in Bohemia decades. His populace tolerated him like a boisterous uncle at a wedding. Eye rolls, careful seating, copious alcohol. Finally, he left a shaky kingdom, a flooded wine cellar, and royal heritage, best summarized as ruling like every day was his final hangover. Henry VIII of England exemplifies unchecked power meeting unchecked hormones. He ruled from 1509 to 1547, spending most time marrying, divorcing, or raging at the Pope for opposing his questionable dating. You know the rhyme. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Yet that barely scratches Henry's royal rom-com turned horror series. Start with Catherine of Aragon, spouse 1. After 20 marriage years, Henry decided God was angered by no male heir. Naturally, the solution wasn't reflection. It was annulment, excommunication, and founding an entire new church. He created Anglicanism just to date another. That's not devotion. That's pettiness with a cathedral. Enter Anne Boleyn, spouse 2. Henry wrote her passionate love letters, obsession, truly awful poetry. She bore him a daughter, Elizabeth, later England's great monarch, yet no sons. This led to her arrest for adultery, witchcraft, possibly court side-eye. She was beheaded. Henry moved on emotionally like a potato. Jane Seymour followed, producing male heir Edward before tragically dying from childbirth. Henry mourned her deeply, meaning he waited 11 respectful days before scouting spouse 4. Next came Anne of Cleves, whom Henry selected via flattering portrait. In person, he declared she resembled a Flanders mare. That union lasted 6 months, ended via no-fault divorce and a polite written critique. Catherine Howard, spouse 5, was younger and considerably less discreet. She was executed for adultery, though honestly hard blaming her. Marrying Henry then meant gout, paranoia, a man barely walking yet insisting he was women's gift. Finally, Catherine Parr, spouse 6, who wisely outlived him via literacy, patience, and dodging accusations. By Henry's death, he'd bankrupted England, consumed half its livestock, and transformed the royal court into a soap opera where heads rolled more than wedding bands. Briefly, Henry VIII loved intensely, governed harshly, left drama so legendary it's still musicalized. Francis I of France, ruling 1515-1547, embodied the Renaissance. Cultured, charming, sophisticated, utterly incapable of fastened trousers. To his credit, he was a great arts patron. He invited Leonardo da Vinci to France, constructed magnificent palaces, helped make France a cultural force. Yet while painters painted and poets versed, Francis busied seducing anything pulsing and titled. His court was renowned, perhaps infamous, for opulence, yet also functioning as a state-funded dating app. He employed gentlewomen of the bedchamber, a term implying ladies in waiting, yet meaning romantic shortlist. Whole political alliances derailed because Francis accidentally bedded an ambassador's wife. And this wasn't quiet, subtle adultery. Francis was loud. He once declared to foreign dignitaries French kings were expected superb lovers, noble-sounding, until realizing it came from a man treating treaties and mistresses identically, temporarily. His most famous affair involved Françoise de Foix, a noblewoman becoming his official mistress. She was witty, educated, likely the sole woman roasting him publicly and surviving. eventually replaced, naturally, followed by Anne d'Hailey, a woman whose name sounds medieval inside joke and political influence matched only by outlasting rivals. Even enemies noticed. Holy Roman Emperor Charles V once called Francis more dangerous in bed than battle. Meant insultingly. Francis likely took it complimentingly. And somehow, amidst affairs, banquets, and diplomatic flirtation, Francis ruled effectively. Though wars were costly and women more so, the man was nothing if not enthusiastic. His reign was a whirlwind of silk, scandal, and shared perfume. Francis I wasn't just king, he was France's most seductive historical liability. Honestly, he'd prefer it no other way. Alfonso V of Castile ruled 1311 to 1350. His primary hobby besides governing, ignoring his wife publicly and extravagantly. His unfortunate, politically strategic wife was Maria of Portugal. Noble, well-connected, yet unfortunately not Leonor de Guzman, the woman Alfonso truly cherished. Leonor was a Castilian noblewoman possessing a sharp intellect, 11 children, sufficient influence essentially running the court herself. Unlike Maria, she required no crown for importance, merely Alfonso's utter, shameless obsession. Now, most kings kept mistresses. Alfonso transformed his into a shadow queen. He constructed Leonor palaces, granted her land, took her everywhere. Meanwhile, Queen Maria remained seated alone at royal events like an unwanted centerpiece, while Alfonso gazed lovingly across the hall at his side piece, not even attempting subtlety. Making matters worse or better, depending on medieval soap tolerance, Leonor wasn't just a mistress. She was politically active, negotiating treaties, commanding respect, producing heirs like a full-time occupation, which honestly, it was. Alfonso refused, pretending Maria mattered. Actually, he spent time with her only once, purely for diplomatic optics. Afterwards, he retreated to Leonor's estate like a man allergic to marital duty. This displeased Maria's father, the King of Portugal. International relations grew so tense over this situation, war nearly erupted. Imagine in-laws so furious about your mistress, they contemplate military action. But Alfonso didn't care. He continued parading Leonor around court like a royal trophy, likely continuing forever had the Black Death not killed him, 1350. Correct, a literal plague ended his affair. After Alfonso died, Queen Maria finally had her moment. She imprisoned and executed Leonor, a move historians term vengeful, most would call extremely fair. Alfonso's reign may be recalled for military victories, but truly his legacy was being one of history's most publicly whipped kings. Philip IV of France, called Philip the Fair, personality excluded, ruled 1285-1314. His nickname derived from looks, unfortunately unmatched by conduct. Outwardly pious, serious, morally reforming. Inwardly, he governed a kingdom like tense reality TV, betrayal, secret trials, healthy bedroom, double standards. His most infamous scandal was the Tour de Nesle affair, a medieval sex scandal so chaotic HBO could script it. It started when Philip's daughter Isabella, later Edward II's overthrower, noticed sisters-in-law overly friendly with knights. Suspiciously friendly, like matching gift exchanges and secret tower rendezvous friendly. Isabella informed Philip, who launched a royal probe with sledgehammer subtlety. 2 princesses married to Philip's sons were found guilty of adultery, publicly imprisoned years. Heads shaved, titles revoked, reputations obliterated. The 2 involved knights were tortured, flayed, executed publicly because moral leadership isn't conveyed via medieval snuff films. Now intrigue. While Philip dispensed brutal punishments like candy, rumors swirled he himself kept mistresses tucked in Louvre private rooms. Some whispered he maintained a secret group entertaining visiting dignitaries, for diplomacy naturally, but unlike daughters-in-law, nobody questioned the king's private affairs. When writing rules, sin amazingly becomes strategy. Philip also possessed special knack using religion conveniently. He pursued Knights Templar for alleged heresy, yet everyone knew it concerned their wealth. Medieval equivalent of arresting your banker, calling it divine justice. So yes, Philip may have appeared pious and honorable, but beneath that sculpted jawline and royal glare lay deep hypocrisy and knowledge of all castle secret doors. Sigismund of Luxembourg, King of Hungary, King of the Romans, later Holy Roman Emperor, collected crowns like other men collect wine goblets, enthusiastically. Reigning late 14th to mid-15th century, Sigismund was intelligent, multilingual, politically astute. He also possessed scandalous personal life, making tavern bards blush. To start, Sigismund married Queen Mary of Hungary, powerful independently, yet marriage was polite formality. He preferred relationships less lawful, more frequent, ideally conversation-free. His romantic side projects included noblewomen, laundresses, at least one Italian opera singer pre-opera, speaking to innovative spirit. Court officials often lost track of his mistresses, not due to numbers, but turnover. Some historians suggest they numbered them. At court, mistresses possessed own quarters, servants, won a private chapel, deeply romantic or wildly inappropriate depending on praying beside a mistress. Sigismund also favored disguises, particularly dressing commoner and sneaking into towns. Sometimes espionage, sometimes flirting local women disguised as very tall merchant. Apparently nobody found this suspicious despite him being the only merchant with servants wearing royal crests. Yet the man ruled decades, launched crusades, hosted Council of Constance, reformed imperial politics, all while conducting affairs, making Casanova seek steady mate. One ambassador wrote, "Sigismund greets all women equally, especially privately, vaguely progressive, yet suspiciously HR violating." But despite extracurriculars, Sigismund remained immensely popular, largely because he appeared regal publicly while quietly running Europe's most chaotic love life. He wasn't just emperor, he was a one-man renaissance, strategist, statesman, scandal. Somehow he always escaped consequences. Louis XIV of France, Louis the Beloved, ruled 1715-1774. By ruled, we mostly mean hosting endless royal after-party where governance was optional and silk sheets weren't. He started promisingly. Young, handsome, poised, continuing Louis XIV's legacy. Yet around his 20s, Louis decided national policy could wait. He had ladies-in-waiting to attend. Discuss the Parc aux Cerfs, the discreet house near Versailles Louis used for private auditions. Girls were recruited, usually poor yet pretty, brought discreetly, rotated like seasonal goods. So many mistresses, palace guards likely used clipboards. His most famous mistress, Madame de Pompadour, wasn't merely pretty. She basically ran France behind scenes. But losing physical interest, Louis stated, "That's fine," and constructed a second harem. Logic. Retain Pompadour for brains and banter, retain Parc aux Cerfs for everything else. Organized chaos. Each girl received gifts, titles, sometimes discreet housing post-contract. France's most unofficial yet strangely efficient internship program. And the queen, Marie Leshchinska, present somewhere, mostly ignored. Stopping childbearing, Louis treated her like antique furniture. Too valuable discard, no longer room relevant. Court scandal normalized, so nobles didn't ask if king had mistress, but how many this week. Even foreign ambassadors gossiped letters about Versailles turnover rate. That's not monarchy. That's brothel with superior uniforms. Ironically, Louis genuinely believed himself good ruler between lavish balls, discreet pregnancies, awkward wife silences. His reign, while not disastrous, set tone for grandson Louis XVI, later losing head, possibly because Grandpa spent excessive time thinking with wrong crown. Ultimately, Louis XIV left debt-ridden France, disillusioned court, royal reputation best summarized as loved by women, loathed by accountants. Christian VII of Denmark ruled 1766 to 1808, though ruled too strong. Wobbled through life while others governed, probably more accurate. Christian suffered severe mental illness, likely schizophrenia, disinterested in kingship unless chasing servants with cutlery, which he found hilarious. This made him royal mascot, not monarch. Christian had a wife, Caroline Matilda of Great Britain, sensible young woman expecting normal marriage. She got a husband preferring public masturbation, conversing with his hand, vanishing state dinners, riding imaginary horses, palace corridors. Unclear what broke first, her patience or his reality grasp. Enter Johann Friedrich Struensee, king's physician. Smart, ambitious, power-interested, Struensee swiftly became Denmark's real ruler and awkwardly queen's lover. Correct. Caroline Matilda embraced full soap opera, beginning affair with husband's doctor. The king didn't notice or care. Struensee drafted laws, signed edicts, kept Christian-occupied puppet shows, sword games, gentle nudges from sharp objects. Likely history's only love triangle where one corner hummed vaguely background. Caroline and Struensee even had a child together, possibly kings on paper, definitely not his biologically. Briefly, the two governed Denmark like progressive, slightly scandalous think tank. But royal courts are rarely chill. Eventually, Christian's jealous mother-in-law uncovered the affair, staged coup. Struensee arrested, tortured, dramatically executed. Caroline shipped exile, reputation ruined. Christian returned supervised liability, spending reign, padded silence. His reign recalled less for achievements, more sheer absurdity. King ruling nothing, queen trying best, physician trying too hard. History terms constitutional crisis. We term Europe's strangest love story. Charles II of England, ruled 1660 to 1685, returned exile with clear agenda: restore fun, preferably maximum mistresses, humanly possible. Spoiler, mission accomplished. Surviving civil war, hiding oak trees, living continental poverty, Charles returned king, promptly decided nation needed less puritanism, more clothing-optional ballroom dancing. Parliament reluctantly agreed. Nicknamed Merry Monarch, Charles had dozens official mistresses, only known ones. His most famous flame was Nell Gwynn, sharp-tongued actress calling herself Protestant whore, differentiating from others. Iconic branding. Then Barbara Palmer, titled Countess of Castlemaine, if less mistress, more palace fixture. Openly kept royal apartments, multiple Charles's children, all granted titles and land because nepotism more fun, flirty. Charles didn't pretend discretion. He brought mistresses court events, paid them government pensions, built Whitehall corridor reaching bedroom undisturbed ambassadors. Efficiency thy name, Charles. Queen Catherine of Braganza, long-suffering wife, endured quietly dignity, possibly flask. Bore no children. Charles reportedly stated she couldn't bear children, but never troubled me. Compliment and red flag. Charles fathered 14 illegitimate children minimum, acknowledged most, giving noble titles, elaborate birthday parties. Meanwhile, legitimate line childless, as if karma possessed humor. Despite scandals, Charles popular. Reopened theaters, legalized fun, restored monarchy flair, wigs, more eyeliner than actresses. People forgave everything, largely because he made monarchy resemble party. Dying, final words, let not poor Nellie starve, not God bless England, not tell brother rule wisely, just feed mistress. Friends, that summarizes Charles II, king governing like hosting royal bachelor finale. Eric XIV of Sweden ruled 1560-1568. Short reign, long enough leaving paranoia, poetry, utterly catastrophic dating choices, legacy. Eric started promisingly, tall, handsome, fond astronomy arts, king writing love sonnets, explaining planetary orbits, dinner. Also obsessed astrology, rarely deciding sans stars. Unfortunately, stars never advised chilling. Eric fancied noble women, not subtle garden whispers. Proposed Queen Elizabeth I of England multiple times, repeatedly declined, politely, firmly, then silence. Eric didn't grasp hint, sending self-portraits gifts, 16th century equivalent sliding DMs, shirtless selfie, marriage contract. Elizabeth ghosting him. Eric aimed lower rank, not enthusiasm. Adored Karen Monsdaughter, commoner, jailer's daughter. Scandalized nobility, making Eric dig harder. Married her crowned queen, then spent year emotional breakdowns imprisoning nobles, stabbing people suspected looking her wrong. His most infamous moment, Stewart murders, casual dinner, ending Eric personally stabbing nobles, shouting things, making courtiers question astrology, broke brain. By then, hearing voices, hiding invisible enemies, occasionally disguising spying own counsel. Nobility staged intervention, royal terms meaning locked castle, crown, past brother. Eric spent life imprisoned, writing bizarre love poetry, Karen, ranting conspiracies, probably regretting stabbing guy mid-supper. Sweden learned, check dinner guests' hidden blades, avoid kings writing own horoscopes, maybe don't crown man insisting moon whispers betrayal. Ferdinand of Naples, Ferdinand of Aragon, ruled mid-15th century. Brought charm, brutality, hobby making most canceled dinner plans. Surface, culture deficient ruler. Stabilized kingdom, balanced budget, crushed rebellions impressively fast. Leadership leaned friendly dictator side psychological warfare. Case point, enemies approach. Most kings exiled traitors, some imprisoned. Ferdinand preferred stuffing them. Human taxidermy, executing rebellious nobles, embalmed, displayed private museum beneath castle. Called Black Room, gave guided tours foreign dignitaries, visiting ambassadors, potential traitors. Nothing conveys behave like showing preserved political errors. Reportedly enjoyed describing each corpse name, crime, expression. Some posed mid-scream, others plaques. One guest fainted. Ferdinand found hilarious. If TripAdvisor existed, reviews 5 stars, deeply unsettling, wouldn't return sans sedative. When not curating creepiest European gallery, Ferdinand equally questionable romantic reputation. Fathered numerous illegitimate children, many mysteriously appearing titles land. Official queen merely one lady many, Suspected Ferdinand viewed marriage suggestion, not rule. Mistresses ranged noblewomen peasants, sole common factor, complete disregard discretion. Royal banquets sometimes doubled flirtation contests. One ambassador noted Ferdinand never dined sans sampling multiple courses, political otherwise. Muslim warbands struck caravans. Travelers butchered, sold slavery. Christian safety dream east collapsing. Then knight Hugh de Paynes with 8 companions vowed not king, not lord, but God. Pledged protect Christian pilgrims' lives, not soldiers, monks. Took vows poverty, chastity, obedience, no wives, no gold, no lands, just horses, swords, faith. Called themselves poor fellow soldiers of Christ, Temple Solomon. Mouthful. Yes. Final phrase mattered. King Baldwin II gave quarters. Temple Mount Solomon's temple ruins stood. This holy ground provided name, Knights Templar. 9 years remained tiny group, unofficial, underfunded, dangerously committed. Lived beggars, borrowing armor, sharing war horses, training maniacs. Disciplined, devout, dangerous reputation spread. Strange monk-warrior blend caught attention, Christendom's influential men, Bernard of Clairvaux. Bernard, no ordinary abbot. Spiritual rock star. Spoke, popes listened. Saw divine these men. Council Troyes 1129 helped draft Templars' official rule, rigid monastic code infused martial purpose. Praised them new knighthood, holy elite fighting not glory, God. Bernard's blessing papal approval, Knights Templar ceased misfit band. Became religious order, divine sanction, donations flowed. Young nobles abandoned comfort, joined ranks. Jerusalem dirt, Templars rose holy, hungry, officially unstoppable. Yet unaware, greatest blessing, papal independence would someday mark death. Papal recognition secured, white mantles stitched blood-red crosses, Knights Templar ceased monks' swords. Became Christendom shock troops. Crusader states Levant, fragile Christian outposts, Islamic resistance sea, constantly threatened. Templars now wall-holding tide, code brutal clear. Never retreat unless outnumbered 3-1. No ransoms, no mercy, no fear. Trained daily, fought fanatical discipline, thy believed battle death highest honor. Most knights fought plunder pride. Templars fought terrifying righteousness, God's fury horseback. Second Crusade proved worth. Disorganized lords bickered, failed capture Damascus. Templars maintained discipline, carved enemy lines. Skirmishes, open battles, charges legendary. Not just skill, reputation. Muslim commanders identified first battle reports. White-mantled devils, Red Cross. Didn't just fight, fortified. Across Holy Land, Templars built iron web castles, outposts, safed mighty fortress Bagras, no ornamental estates. Templar castles, militarized strongholds, thick walls, trap-laden gates, water systems withstand year-long sieges. Armies fled, Templars stayed, by time die. Allegiance not kings, not emperors, only pope. Rare breed rulers admired, feared. King couldn't command, baron couldn't bribe, only grandmaster chosen with an order fight stand down. Sovereign spirit bled cross. Not just recruiting soldiers, building myth, ceremonies secret, rites obscure, discipline absolute, many holy, others ominous. Yet popularity grew, transformed 9 dusty knights, elite order spanning continents. Fame brought whispers, whispers envy. God's sword sharpened, someday pointed them, began borrowed armor, vow poverty. Within century, Knights Templar ceased warriors. World's trusted financial institution, didn't set bankers. War made rich, faith made trusted. Necessity made brilliant. Started donations, nobles supporting Holy Land, gifted land, gold, livestock, entire villages. Templars didn't hoard, managed carefully strategically, built commanderies across Europe. Agricultural estates run efficient businesses. Everything accounted, grain, livestock, taxes, tithes. Monk England sending money support battle Jerusalem weeks. Reach unheard. Banking system followed. Noblemen heading Holy Land no longer risk carrying chest coins. Deposit funds, Templars, Paris, receive coded letter, withdraw identical amount acre. Earliest international banking. Templars charged modest fees, kept meticulous records, never defaulted. Became medieval Swiss banks centuries pre-Switzerland. Clients kings, queens, bishops, merchants. Safeguarded French crown jewels, managed papal finances, funded crusades, ransomed prisoners. Lent money, monarchs later destroy them. Templars didn't flaunt wealth, not draped silk gold. Churches plain, vestments humble. Beneath austerity, empire, ledgers, vaults, armored wagons, invisible hand touching nearly every European economy. Refused bankers, monks. Everything claimed service God. More gold moved, more enemies made. Church ignored. Templars answered Pope. Kings nervous, owed Templars fortunes, couldn't control. Pilgrim defense mission evolved stranger. Warrior's battlefield, monk's monastery, banker's kingdom, coffers heavier, suspicion weight heavier, power oversight, kings sharpened knives. Mighty, Templars fought losing war. Crusader states, Outremer, castles sand-battered Islamic resurgence waves. Leading tide Saladin, brilliant Sultan Egypt, Syria. Unlike disorganized petty Crusader lords, Saladin unifying force. One goal, retake Jerusalem. 1187 goal realized Battle Hattin. Templars fought last. Crushed, outmaneuvered, outnumbered, surrounded, searing heat. Christian army annihilated. Saladin captured hundreds knights, most ransomed. Templars, no mercy. Executed nearly all. Saladin, too dangerous alive. Jerusalem lost military blow. Spiritual crisis. City sworn protect gone. Holy sepulchre Muslim hands. Templars' original purpose crumbled. Regrouped. Third Crusade brought reinforcements. Richard Lionheart respected by Templars battle, yet couldn't retake Jerusalem. Next century, Crusader states shrank dying embers. Antioch, Tripoli, finally Acre 1291. Last Templar stronghold, Holy Land lost. Retreated Cyprus built new headquarters, tried maintain relevance. Something shifted, warriors no Holy Land defend. Fighting what? Castles empty, legends dusty, discipline hallmark faded, rival orders, hospitallers gained ground, accusations, pride, corruption, arrogance followed. Templars Europe, whispered grown rich, secretive. Hoarding relics, dangerous ones. East shaped, forged, broke. Without, Templars adrift, possessed wealth, network, power aura, lost made essential. Sword war. Brotherhood crusade, vacuum, powerful enemies watched. 14th century dawn, Knights Templar rich, feared, powerful. First time history irrelevant. Holy Land lost. No crusades horizon, military order war, religious order clear mission. Financial powerhouse answered king made target. Philip IV France eyed suspicion greed, not called fair justice. Deep debt bankrupt wars England Flanders. Templars creditors borrowed massive sums fund armies keep throne. Philip disliked debt, especially men control. Worse Templars politically independent. Answered Pope crown, held land, France paid taxes, king, owned fortresses, courts, armies. Philip, dangerous state, untouchable, immovable, unbearably rich. Began planning. Philip propaganda machine worked, rumors spread, Templars worshipped idols, spat cross, obscene initiation rites, evidence absent, just whispers. Superstition age, whispers enough. Leaned puppet, Pope Clement fuffed, pressuring papacy, investigate. Clement hesitated, Philip waited. Secret Philip orchestrated medieval history, coordinated mass arrests, set date, gathered soldiers, prepared torturers. Cold Friday morning, October 1307, Friday 13th struck. Across France, Templar knights seized, interrogated, imprisoned, tortured, confessions forced. Some broke hours, others resisted bodies. Treason wrapped, holy justice worked. Public loyal turned. Pope pressured, humiliated, cornered, tide turned, battle politics. Warrior monks once rode enemy lines, sat chained dungeons, accused sins, sword defend. October 13th, 1307, day forever cursed, Friday 13th, Western imagination. Dawn across France, corners armed men moved silence. Orders clear, arrest every Templar find. No warning, resistance allowed. King's justice arrived. Swords drawn, warrants sealed secrecy, thousands knights, dragged beds, some full armor, others prayer. Grandmaster Jacques de Molay, taken Paris, betrayed kingdom, crown jewels safeguarded. Cities, countryside, Templar commanderies, raided vaults, cracked libraries seized. Charges fantastical. Heresy, idol worship, spitting, cross, sodomy, devil rituals. Invented whole cloth Philip lawyers. Fear, religious, zealotry era didn't need. True. Believable. Templars silenced fire iron. Torture chambers lit France. Men stretched, burned, crushed, flayed confessions, dripped blood. Admitted whatever inquisitors wanted. Denied Christ, worshipped severed head, Baphomet, kissed secret ceremonies. Unbearable agony, Grandmaster Molay confessed later recanted. Theater masquerading justice. King destroying creditors, accusing sins, grotesque dared defend. Pope Clement V humiliated. Tried mediate, Philip moved fast, ruthlessly. Cornered, Clement ordered investigation. Countries. England, Spain hesitated. Accusations dismissed, Templars released. France condemnation machinery rolled. Philip confiscated wealth, much mysteriously disappeared. Whispered, Templars moved treasure never found. Real treasure, knowledge, secrets, relics, Holy Grail, Ark, Covenant. Truth, damage done. Templars, brotherhood. Fugitives, prisoners, dead men walking. King dealt blow, armies, ink, fire, lies. World never view Red Cross same. 1312 end inevitable. Knights Templar once Christendom, powerful military order reduced, broken men, dark cells. Confessions wrenched, torture justification. Next. Papal bull vox in excelso dissolved, order council Vienne, March 1312 titles holdings identity. Officially Templars ceased. Holy See declared mercy, conviction, necessary prevents scandal. Reality political execution, ecclesiastical robes. Order properties transferred, Knights Hospitaller, not everything arrived. Much Templar wealth, treasures, ledgers, rumored relics vanished, claimed hidden, absorbed Philip treasury, Templar vast financial empire, dissolved smoke leaving questions. Final act unplayed. 1314, Grandmaster Jacques Molay spent 7 long years prison-led scaffold Paris. Executed Gieffroy Charny, Senior Templar. Recanted confessions insisting order innocent defiance burn. Tied wooden stake small island sane. Flames rose. Molay shouted smoke calling God judge condemners. Legend cursed King Philip Pope Clement declaring die year. Did. Clement succumbed illness month. Philip followed later sudden warning. Whispered divine justice, coincidence. Myth stuck. Templars died, cursing killers heavens listened. Last true voice, Knights Templar silenced fire. Story ended, battle, torture flame. Erased map, legend beginning root. Templar execution fires died. Legend embers burned hotter. Order disbanded, castles seized, leaders executed, story over. Strange happened. Fading memory, Knights Templar transformed, disgraced monks, eternal symbols, mystery power. Secrecy protected, fed rumors, treasure, scrolls, relics, holy knowledge, believed Templars, spirited, holy grail, arrest. Whispered hidden ark covenant guarded Jesus descendants. Proof absent, shadows, medieval shadows enough. Idea, Templars survived underground. Officially disbanded, former Templars quietly blended society. Joined monastic orders, became mercenaries, legend claimed secret. Formed hidden brotherhoods, preserving rituals, relics, silence, biding time. Centuries, stories, mutated myths. Templars credited, blamed, Gothic cathedral construction, Freemasonry founding. Conspiracy theories sprouted weeds. Templars controlled banks, thrones, revolutions. Never defeated, disguised. Behind major historical event, hidden hand, white mantle guided outcome. Pop culture helped. Templars appeared, books, games, films, heroes, villains. Dan Brown. Da Vinci Code custodians, holy bloodlines, Assassin's Creed, global cabal, civilization strings, retelling, distorted, truth-fed fascination. Reality Templars, flesh blood, brave, flawed. Religious warriors, tried, mix, monastic vows, war, violence, paid price. Myths endure, offer history, answers, meaning, mystery. Real Templars died, scaffolds, dungeons. Mythological Templars ride imagination, eternal armored, cloaked secrecy. Philip Fair failed, destroyed bodies, legend, untouchable. 7 centuries past last, Knights Templar, Grandmaster burns sane banks. Red Cross lingers, literature, architecture, symbols carved old stone, whispered conspiracy theories. Templars gone, legacy dead. Warriors, innovators. Age kings ruled divine right, banking sin. Templars created pan-European finance, logistics, diplomacy network. Credit letters prefigured modern checks. Commanderies functioned multinational corporation, regional branches, built swords, sacred vows, militarily redefined knight. Pre-Templars chivalry, personal code flexible, ignored. Templars institution discipline, enforced brutal consistency. Lone champions, jousting glory, units trained modern special forces, willing die, abstract ideal died, did silence, vain impact. Culturally changed West, viewed religion warfare. Warrior monk concept challenged holiness, violence incompatible. Belief weaponized battle politics, finance propaganda. Fell belief, heresy justified destruction. Fall cautionary tale. Templars symbol unchecked power, answerable pope protected richer kings. Downfall exposed institutions, fragility, divine authority. Medieval corporate takedown executed royalty Rome. Image, myth, man, myth, shape, memory. Templars memory. Courageous, flawed, betrayed, reminds history, written victories, etched ash. See Red Cross, white cloth, remember, worn men believed, God's work, politics, ambition, fear, decided otherwise. Steel, gold, fire, clash, legend born. 12th century Paris changing. Trade routes expanding, universities rising, church flexing muscles. Age, ambition, political, spiritual, architectural. Center, rising city stood, stone, dream, dream belong, Maurice Sully, bishop, Paris, appointed 1160. Man, God, visionary. Existing cathedral, Saint-Étienne, crumbling, unimpressive. Paris, growing, religious heart match, city stature. Sully dreamed bigger, bigger, proposed cathedral, immense, awe-inspiring, dwarf surroundings, monument, Virgin Mary, Catholic Church, France, power, glory. Romanesque fortress, predecessors, radical Gothic. 1163 dream form, tradition. Pope Alexander III laid first stone ceremonial blessing. Construction began, eastern end choir, apse, priests sing hymns, towering glass stone arches. Ordinary build Notre Dame, generational commitment. Paris people, stonemasons, blacksmiths, carpenters, artists began work. Hauled limestone, nearby quarries shaped medieval tools, raised scaffolding, scraped heavens. Block unfolded Notre Dame Rosa structures, Zimbel City, narrow timber houses, muddy streets, cathedral form, towering skyline stone, sermon, Gothic style, infancy, redefined churches, shelters, sprayer instruments, all work moved east-west, beginning choir, priest performs acrid rites, nave, vest, open space, bay, faithful architecture, revolutionary walls, thinner ceiling, shire pointed arches allowed weight shifted downward, ribbed vaults support ceiling, sang upward drawing eyes, all heaven radical idea light, unlike dim Romanesque churches old Notre Dame built. Glow massive stained glass windows appeared, filtering colored lights, sacred geometry, scripture scenes, burst life, rising sun, church telling stories, illuminating every Notre Dame meaning column, supports saints, archways, decoration, passageways, salvation stone, theology, masons, scribes, outside walls. Paris, transforming cathedral, heartbeat markets, clustered sermons, echoed Santa students burgeoning, University Paris gathered shadow Notre building Soul City progress, slow cranes power tools, musclewoods scaffolding endless resolve hundreds. Workers toiled, year died, took place names rarely recorded, reward fame faith built God generation sunborn 1200 choir, nave stood outlines miracle shape, Notre Dame dreams tone glass sweat prayer plan next defy gravity reason Notre Dame unlike city scene, dangerously ambitious walls. Rose vaulted ceilings, expanded problem emerged, weight stone ceilings pressed outward, upward vaults climbed, threatened push walls apart, traditional Romanesque churches solved thick walls, stunny windows. Notre Dame breathe, glow, reach heaven, spirits pace may. Sun's revolutionary bold architectural idea barely tested, flew flying buttresses, mere supports, external arms, stone arching upper walls, solid piers, standing apart, main building, skeletal wings, braced cathedral, outside, transferring outward, force ceiling ground, harm ground, impossibly delicate. Lace limestone engineering genius allowed Notre Dame meant structure, air light, impossible height, flying buttresses, changed everything, pressure interior walls. Builders add windows, great rose windows, vast wheels, stained glass depicting saints, angels, app. Ocalypse dream reality, color exploded space. God stories, pulpit, sunlight. Ironically, original Notre Dame plans, flying buttresses, early Gothic builders grasp. Full potential structure grew strain. Masons adapted, fly added stone wings, early 1200s necessity poetry critics. But exposed support sunsightly interrupting building Clensil Howet's two daw Notre Dame held places stone angels flight Cadral God House living demonstration faith math build hymn gravity defying limestone wing spread early 1200s N. Notre Dame transformed Parisian skyline iconic features shape eastern end completion attention shifted westward rose-faced cathedral people recognize when towers monumental west facade entrance estate spiritual architectural political church feels mall approach succeeded. Doors soared heights, sculpted kings, prophets, saints, demons watched visitor entering building, walking sacred, judgment construction, west towers began, decades finished tower, roses, stages, block, higher reached nearly 70 in. Tall completed plan, spires, needle points, massive flat silhouette, Huet's majestic simplicity, towers, gallery, Kings 28, statues representing Judah monarchs, misunderstood French Revolution, French kings tragically decapitated, angry mobs, 13th century message diviner. Heavenly orders, acred rule, church, crown walked hand-hand, front porch, three great portals, theological story, stone central portal, last judgment carved, Christ-seated glory, flanked angels, demons, resurrected souls, rising graves alliterate, masses scenes decorate, ion, doctrine, message, enter reverence, eternity, starts, doors, rose window, bloomed nearly 10 macross frame, intricate tracery, flanked Virgin Mary, childlight past colored glass, divine spotlight projecting saints nave mid 1200s towers done facade stood complete solemn symmetrical overwhelming fortress faith billboard God authority warning sinner builders done heart Notre Dame finishing transept roof spire pierce clouds built face crown towers west facade standing proud defiance gravity Notre Dame shell soul lived-ins Ida vast expanse and nava transepts sacred choirs paces carry voices monks footsteps kings prayers thousands mid 1200s work focused transepts arms cross shape layout Gothic cathedrals, iconic floor plan architect Jean de Chelles, later Pierre de Montreal wings, expanded adorned rose windows, ornate western north transept, luminous window bathed space, cool blue, sheavenly purple, south warmer, fiery divine design, choices theology, northern window, represented testaments, outhern new wing, stoled salvation story, illuminated light fire cath. Edrelcolum sword tree trunk stone forest vaulted ceiling stretched nearly 35 high ribbed arches meeting palms prayer architecture choreography upward motion guiding soul heaven altars acrid center space mass celebrated relics venerated elite France kneel royal weddings coronaces papal visits Notre Dame spiritual stage nation elite filled walls merchants peasants cathedral public sanctuary echoing sermons songs Its occasional pulpits colding place, witness miracles, beg miracles, her face told sculptures, stained G. Last stills Notre Dame house divine perform, faith carved stone, floated in censer, radiated glass, late 13th century interior, complete heart cathedral, beat, strong lacked crown, pierce heavens building, spire 1200s, Notre Dame miracle towers soared, nave echoed sacred chants, rose windows flooded interior divine light, unfinished vertical accent led eye roofline heavens planned spire, unlike twin tower, heavy grounded spire, elegant word pointing needlerizing crossing transept center church, cruciform layout constructed, oa claddle, eat original spire technical challenges, spiritual statement, decoration, exclamation, Notre Dame visible prayer, demanded master carpenter's metal soaked beam, shoisted human power, winches pulleys, scaffolding structure, light stable, withstand winds, battered Paris, sign finished spire, pierced skies, sword, lifted, devotion, intricate work, unfolding, gargoyles, bizarre haunting creatures emerged, stone, grotesque fun, served water spouts, diverting rain, masonry, symbolic guardians, frightenful reminds, inner, so waited, final phase included dozens shine. Brass statues, hybrid beasts, birched Paris eyes, forever scanning horizon nightmare, marvel, Gothic love affair, Maestry symbolism, chapels completed, choir stalls, carved relics, Sense shrine, Notre Dame operational sacred machine, national stage, taken century work, 10,000 workers, faith kingdom, 1345, nearly 200 years, stone laid cathedral considered complete word, Notre Dame frozen time, restored, reinvented, resurrected centuries, 14th century structure, Gothic masterpiece, mid 14th century, Notre Dame, par. Is cathedral towering symbol, Catholic dominance, royal authority, national identity, centuries, stood heart, Paris, stage, great dramas, France unfold, beating heart, state, religion, hosting coronations, royal weddings, solemn funerals, kings married, vaulted ceilings, wars declared victories, cellared Notre Dame bells rang, sign of monarch, centered rulers, land exited, God chosen kings past great doors, generals, bishops, foreign dignitaries, kneel, negotiated, disasters struck, famines, plagues, invasions, Parisians filled nave prayers, processions, esperated divine intervention, cathedrals, sanctuary, hope, fear watching, waiting politically, Notre Dame spiritual anchor, French monarchy central location, Il City literal symbolic heart, Paris perfect backdrop, ritualized power, priests, blessed banners, war crown, linked, royal blood, divine mandate, king ruled France. Notre Dame ruled soul culturally center, while pilgrims traveled miles, glimpses of cred relics, including crown thorns believed worn, Christ, great organ thundered, feast days, choir, secode, polyphonic music, pushed medieval boundaries, Notre Dame status evolved, absorbing art styles, musical, traditions, liturgical forms, 17th, 18th centuries, Gothic beauty, fall favor, Baroque architecture, vogue Notre Dame, dark, spiky, medieval, outdated, renovations, attempted, modernized looks, moothing, daring stood, cathedral caught centuries, revered, increasingly overlooked, weathered storms, time bells tolled, shifting foundations, Notre Dame born, faith crowned kings. Force stone ignore revolution, French Revolution erupted 1789. Notre Paris wrong side history, centuries, monument, monarchy, religion, institutions. Revolutionaries, cathedral crowned kings, symbol oppressions, symbols, revolutions, survive, untouched attack, ideological, physical revolutionaries, stormed cathedral statues, biblical kings, adorned facade, mistaken French monarchs, 28 beheaded sculptures, smashed, altars, desecrated bells told royal birth, Spopple visits storm melted cannon metal precious relics, crown thorns removed, hidden lost remained hollowed shell, Notre Dame, officially deconsecrated 1793 church, Templaries and repurposed revolutionary festival celebrate, then secular enlightenment point used warehouses storing wine, soaring nave, echoing hymns, smelled spilled barrels, damp stone, spire damage, decaying, dismantled safety gargoyles, fell perches, roof leaked rats, scurried crypt, parish art, forgotten ruin center survived. Napoleon power recognized symbolic Notre Dame 1804 chose a site, self-coronation emperor cathedral reconsecrated cleaned lavish ceremony religious act theater. Napoleon crowned famously snatching crown pope hands, Notre Dame served powerful sanctity embodied decades neg. Lexgar's 1830s Notre Dame crumbling physically spiritually slated demolition Parisians thought replace modern medieval haunting writers stepped writers see cracked stones shattered statues eternal saving world ready forget. Notre Dame Victor Hugo reminded 1831 bookshelf save cathedral Victor Hugo. Notre Dame Paris English hunch Notre Dame Gothic novel. Passionate plea preservation eyes Quasimodo deformed bell ringer. Hugo turned Notre Dame backdrop living character wounded misunderstood beautiful decay pew. Blickliston novel stirred hearts France. Parisians realized lose Notre Dame old masterpiece monument centuries devotion craftsmanship outcry worked 1844 King Louis Philippe approved full-scale restoration cathedral leading Eugène Viollet-le-Duc, Jean-Baptiste Lassus, goal repair damage, restore cathedral soul, replaced eroded statues, rebuilt gallery, kings reimagined, spire removed, revolution, spire designed, viola decrease, 96 milligram round, taller, ornate original, become iconic silhouette, Cess. Europe, 19th, 20. Centuries, Notre Dame returned, rightful places, spiritual, cultural center, parish, hosted masses with liberation ceremonies, welcomed millions visitors, survived world wars, now occupation, bells silent. Paris, liberated 1944, rang triumph, tragic strike. April 15th, 2019, fire, broker, roof minutes, flames engulfed wood, wooden lattice, forest, beams dating 13th century, fire raged out, roof collapse, 19th century, spiral, plume, smoke, world watched, horror, humanity, monuments vanished, time survived, stone towers. Firm rose windows, endured relics, saved people. France, world vowed rebuild. Notre Dame, architecture, memory, identity, resilience. Church symbol, survivors, tone rises. Ashes, reminds faith, beauty reborn. Born 1775, Guangdong province, China. Birth name, recorded history. No Zheng Yi Sao. Wif, Zheng Yinami, Sheikh Empire. Surly prostitute. Cantonese, floating brothel. Common poor girls. 18th century, coastal China. Flower boats, catered merchants. Naval officers, pirates listened, watched. Remembered names, powerful clients, stock time and form. ASEAN broker Zheng, powerful pirate lord, commanded red flag fleet, formidable pirate factions. South China Sea, first pirate served, last struck with cunning. Zheng proposed marriage, accepted terms, moved practically unheard, negotiated position, wanted joint control, fleet, wife partner, handle political alliances, manage plunder, strategic move. Zheng agreed, love, shrewdness, asset marriage, 1801 beginning, successful pirated dynasties, history. Zheng Sao embedded fabric, pirate politics, studied hierarchies, rival rise code, pirate world, Zheng Sa. Island conquered, quietly built networks, recruited allies, learned rules, Haddos stay, shadows long. Zheng suddenly died, 1807 typhoon assumed empire fracture, pirate captains pounce, expecting power vacuum power. Zheng Sao stepped command strategy, took red flag fleet, solidified alliances, married, adopted son Lieutenant Zhang Baosei, ensuring personal loyalty, military strength. Prostitute pirate queen, decade started. Zheng Sao command 1807, inherit pirate fleet, inherit floating kingdom, splintering chaos has banned death tight. Enedra powerful rule, red flag fleet survived, multiplied, South China Sea, plagued pirates. Zheng commanded unprecedented, oversaw war at 300 ships years, weld 600 estimates claim. Eventually led 1,800 vessels, 7,000 men and command navies. European powers combined ruthless pragmatism, keen understanding pirate psychology, maintained power force creating system, bound captains, instituted strict code laws, governed pirate life, loot, loyalty, discipline, punishment, disobedience, met swift brutality, stealing common treasury, lost dead, pirate assaulted female captive, permission executed, pirate deserted, ears cut, parade, fleet warning, fear, Zheng offered protection, structure, profit code allowed, pirates fair share, loot 20 cent, rest, communal fund managed, gave stake, system, built loyalty, stability, defeated rivals, coastal villagers chose, join, resist, divided, massive fleet, 6 squadrons, color red, black, white, blue, yellow, green. Ultimately reported close Stali second command, Zhang Baold, Red Squadron Light, Zheng piracy, government taxation, DeFi. NCRarchy ruled sea lanes, Vietnam, Hong Kong, controlling trade rating, imperial outposts, collecting tribute coastal towns, Qing Dynasty, Navy, Zheng Empire, growing Zheng rule charisma. Rules iron image, pirates conjures chaos, drunken revelry, fleet operated, disciplined corporation, gang outlaws, center structure, pirate code detailed system, law stern, mayhem, method romantic, parchment, candlelight, brutal bending, enforced hesitation, captain, crew member, news takes, violation, humiliation, execution. Worst infamous rules governed divisions, poils. Raid loot presented fleet central, storehouse, pirate responsible, received 20 cent cut, dressed, collective pool controlled, Zheng officers, fleet maintenance, widow pensions, bribes, emergency funds. Stealing collective frowned, punishable death. Disciplined, disobedience battle, serious offense, cowards, abandoned squadron. Disobeyed orders, flogged, executed. Throne sea desertion, immediate decapitation code, addressed relationships, kidnapped woman, required treat, respect, sexual assault, grounds, execution, beheading, interested, chaos interest. Ed control code gave, created reliable system, pirates new rules, consequences, share bound loyalty. Zhang leader system embodied incredibly allowed prisoners, coastal civilians joined forces exchanges where loyalty code joined fear admiration understood Zheng piracy safer profitable strangely fair corrupt authorities laws extended decks ships coastal villages protection paid tribute exchanges AFD autonomy resisted burned ground complied part growing empire pirates over in code law 1808 Zheng pirate empire maritime nuisance national threat fleet dominated South China Sea disrupted trade routes raided coastal towns impunity Qing dynasty embarrassed, overwhelmed act, Treaty, Zheng Imperial Navy launched campaign, crushed pirates. Sending warship, shunt fleet followed quick victories, humiliating display, imperial incompetence, time, Navy outmaneuvered, outgunned, out, Classed water sailors fight coordinated units, switch vessels battle lure enemies, ambush a terrifying precision occasion. Qing squadrons captured ships, absorbed Red Flag fleet, morale differences staggering, imperial officers corrupt underpaid cowardly men, well-organized, fiercely loyal bound Coda-rewarded victory battles dragged Qing, desperation obvious appealed, European powers, Portugal assists navaling, agements, Navy's advanced ships, firepower, local knowledge, unity, purpose, possessed pressure-mounted 1809 coalition, Qing Portuguese Cantonese forces surrounded, parts fleet fought, retreated, strategically launching counterattacks, stunned enemies, surviving humiliating empire, war costly, sustained conflict, drained resources, exhausted men, pirate empire, Sendur war, forever remained unbeaten, Sonder stood crucial power, winning fight, knowing walk away intact intention, dying sea dragged, court plan leave enemies stunned 18. Teng impossible held Qing dynasty, humiliated foreign navies ruled, wave sun matched dominance, realist war send less fronts, growing enemies fought, forever supplies, thinning alliances, strained fleet massive, beginning feel weight, attrition changed, tactics reached, Qing government surrendered terms, bold leverage. Qing failed, beat militarily, citizens feared, respected empire, bargain criminal begging mercy. Leaders Tate traveled Guangzhou personally, ship, armed guards flying Red Flag fleet. Colors proudly plea power, mover requested amnesty. An entire fleet, thousands pirates demanded right, keep wealth, insisted second command, husband, Jiang given military, Qing Navy government stunned, truth tired empire, afford costly drawn-out campaign, rare pragmatism, agreed surrendered style. April 1810 led 17,000 pirates, men, women, children, city chains, procession, 200 ships, handed weapons, laid ceremonially. Pirate confederation disbanded, dropped blood, spilled trials, executions for fature wealth. Zhang granted captaincy, Qing Navy retired free woman unto. Uchidun defeated, immensely rich world pirate stories, betrayal, ended, negotiation, retirement, played game perfectly. Cannon swords, red banners, legend, beginning pirate stories, blood gallows, obscurity, escape fate, built life, negotiating, greatest pirate surrender history, walked fugitive, respected wealthy woman, legacy intact, 1810 surrender fleet settled, Canton modern, Guangzhou, whose band, Jiang served Captain Qing, Navy transition, pirate queen, respectable citizen, absurd, calculated, survival live, openly, comfortably authority. It's largely alone, fading obscurity, quietly, businesswoman, opened gambling house, opium smuggling operation, technically illegal, overlooked influence, building empire, intention forgotten, kept connections, protected, wealth, lived terms, marriage, Zhang endured, raised family, continued serving Navy, hunting pirates, ironically past focused business interests, moved delight circles, consulted maritime affairs, remained legendary figures, illustrators, South China Coast extraordinary, lived broke, society women, born, poor, sold prostitution, clawed male due. Minated criminal world, dying battle, scaffold, retired peacefully, died, age 184469, seek redemption, need life. Ultimate defiance, living rebuttal, law custom expectations that two-man barely speak public, commanded fleets, dictated treaties, negotiated emperors, walked richer, freer, pirate history, sails lowered cannons, Squeet legend echoed sea history, remembers pirates, Blackbeard. Bartholomew Roberts, Henry Morgan roamed Caribbean, sowed chaos, met violent ends, shadow infamy. Zheng Gequal surpassed measure, captain hand, full ships command. D fleet splendor, coastal towns, controlled regions, sea gallows gunfight, negotiated peace pantheon, pirate legend successful, understood success, luck, ruthlessness, strategy, intellect, deep understanding, power, tactician, politician, psychologist, loyalty, fear, order, reward, carefully crafted system, exceptional achieved, woman China society steeped Confucian ideals, confined, women silences servitude, expected marketplace, high seas challenged norms, had earned respect, hardened pirate captains, forced Qing dynasty, negotiating tab, leaned business owner, matriarch, dependent man, legacy, expanded popular memory, phantom, less famous, male counterparts, less romanticized, Western literature, omitted mainstream history, maritime circles, Chinese coastal lore, spoken word, flag fleet vanished, sails lowered, memory, Zhenglinger's ghost ship, silent, untouchable, larger life, pirate woman, legend empires, Neil commanding, largest pirate fleet, world, Zheng strangely absent, mainstream history books, legacy immense, obscured, overshadowed, Western pirate myths, buried layers, colonial bias, Jen, Der Prejudice, political discomfort, fit traditional mold, tragic anti-hero, Blackbeard, die battle, European, threatening woman outplayed, empire power disrupts male-dominated narrative. Historians preferred Chinese official records, treated problem solved. Figures studying Qing celebrate, forget exposed naval weakness, defied imperial authority, walked punch punishment, success embarrassment throne. Western historians fared piracy, romanticized European lens, pegligs, rum, parrots, plunder fit images, washbuckling, strategic, dual glory, negotiated power, K. Ild state negotiated one, chroniclers, exciting, inconvenient recent decades. Legender emerged scholars, feminists, historian spirit enthusiasts, resurrected memory, reclaiming place, global maritime power documentaries, historical novels, video games, acknowledge pirate queen South China Sea life, shrouded mystery, real name lost voices survives, Lebanese officials, foreign sailors, European observers, little silhouette, Teton woman, broke woman, cared existed, Zheng need, world permission, powerful power wielded, precision vanished, history we, wealth authority, dignity, pirate male, female, fated legends find, where crown authority command, respect, fear, thousands, voices shouting orders, waves, real word, queen, monarch, kingdom, borders, flags, fixed territory, domain, South China Sea, reach, Gulf Tonkin, Guangdong shores, built, possessed, pirate confederation, criminal, political, organized, functioning, controlled trader routes, established codes, law, negotiated treaties, enforced order region, Qing Empire struggled, governed ships, scattered raiders, fleets, captains, freelancers, officers, people row, Gessetizens, floating nation legacy, unmatched rise, exit, pirate stories, fire rope negotiation, retirement, wealth ships stepped unscathed, unbowed, holding purses strings, died 1844, pirate emperor general, absolute power choice, legend intact, monuments, bear name, palaces, statues, square presence, haunt, South China Sea, storm cloud, whisper, sailors, incredible women, hearts, leadership, birth, right, Zeng proof, greatness, permission, world, silence, women, voices, sharp, strategic, unyielding, command, empire, ruled, apology, fought, thecitation, retired, defeat. Myth legend, woman conquered, seed, egg sails, gons, haddo, stretches, waves.